I just shared with you a videogram that was the video of China opening 14 border points with Nepal. Nepal and China reopening those vital trade links in the high Himalayas. So a couple of media channels, media outlets have given due importance to this development. These border points are vital for the livelihoods of Nepalese living on the uh, higher climbs on highlands are quite important for their like day-to-day living, for trade and for the import of food. This is because the highlands, most of the times around the year, most parts of the year, do not have uh, grain yields to support them for most part of the year. That means they have to import foodstuffs from uh, across the border from Tibet, from the Tibet Autonomous Region of China. China had shut these border points after the COVID pandemic. That was about 5 years ago. So this move had just had quite a formidable impact on the lives of the Nepali populations living in the highlands. So this has come as a welcome development for Nepal in particular. These are some of the pictures taken during this border points reopening ceremony. I'm taking these pictures from the Twitter handle of Chinese ambassador to Nepal, China's ambassador to Nepal, Chen Song. So let's talk a bit about the importance of this reopening of border points between Nepal and China. As I told you earlier already, these border points, they have played a crucial role for Nepal in particular. In terms of Nepal, I mean, they have importance for China as well, but for Nepal, for like Nepal's highlands, populations living in the highlands, uh, who have to just bear with food insecurity. These border points, the reopening of the border points like Kimathanka and Tatopani. I don't know whether Tatopani has also reopened. The plan is to reopen 7 border points, including Kimathanka, uh, just now, right now, and 7 more border points when the weather clears, weather, the weather becomes clear. So that is the plan. Let me read out a report from the RSS, that is not the Hindu organization, BJP's Hindu mother party, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, but it is for us, it's also a national news agency that is called the Rashtriya Samachar Samiti. So what it writes is a total of traditional border trade points connected with northern neighbor China, including Kimathanka in Sankhua have come into operation from Saturday. The Chinese government, as I told you earlier, had closed various border checkpoints since 2076 in view of the fear of COVID-19 pandemic. That was about 5 years ago. Who was present during this border reopening ceremony? Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs, Naren Kaji Shrestha, and on the Chinese side was Vice President of Tibet Autonomous Region, Silang Nima. They jointly announced a resumption of all border, all 14 trade points along the Nepal-China border, including Kimathanka. This reopening ceremony was organized at Qintang in China. Talking to media persons at Tumlingtar Airport in Sankhya during the announcement of reopening of these trade points, TPM Srestha said operation of the traditional border transit points has been officially announced on Saturday. He informed that 7 checkpoints have come into operation from today onward, while 7 others will be reopened soon. Shrestha noted that these border points, he stressed that these border points with China, including Kimathanka, have resumed. They have reopened after continuous diplomatic follow-up follow-ups on the part of his government. It's a welcome development, isn't it? In terms of food security, in terms of people to people connections. But these trade points, how to make the best use of these points. You know, Nepal imports stuffs, almost every imaginable stuff from both of its neighbors, India and China. Uh, the border points with India in particular, they have not been well managed. Like anyone just can make it through that porous border any time of the day, like posing tremendous security risks for an ill-prepared, ill-governed country like Nepal. It also has become, is becoming a headache for India in terms of uh, security concerns that India often cites, pointing at those open borders. For Nepal, these borders have become uh, those floodgates through which displaced populations from uh, India and the extended neighborhood, people looking for jobs, uh, people looking for employment opportunities in this small country enter easily and just uh, grab the opportunities, grab those limited opportunities meant for the Nepali people. One more thing is that the extended neighborhood of Nepal is never at peace with itself and the rest of the world, whether it's Myanmar, whether it's Bangladesh, uh, or other parts of the subcontinent. India itself has always been in turmoil. It's a developing country. It's a huge economy. It's a global economic powerhouse, but still it has not been able to provide for a large number of its own peoples. So what they do is they look for opportunities everywhere around the world, including in the neighborhood, including in a small country like Nepal. They are like such a large population has different sets of skills. So they can easily find job opportunities in Nepal, whether as an electrician, a plumber, a mason, a construction worker, and whatnot. So they just eye and get those limited job opportunities that Nepal offers. In terms of trade, also, Nepal is heavily reliant on imports. There is no quality control, there is no quality check on those imported goods. So, at times, even like pesticide laced vegetables and whatnot, they enter, they just are pushed into Nepal through that open border. So there is a tremendous like need to regulate, well regulate our open borders. Also, India's security concerns vis-a-vis the open border are well known. All sorts of elements, including criminal elements, enter often enter those uh, sneak into Nepal through that open border, heightening Nepal's security risks as well as India's security concerns. So there is a need to just well regulate, man those open borders to make sure that only a limited number of people get to enter get to enter into Nepal through those porous border points. As for the Indian side, it has its territories well guarded, well secured. It has whole lot of mm, security checkposts along the border. That means unsavory elements do not get to enter their territories, making it like quite secure, safe and secure. But such the same is not the case for Nepal. So that should be on uh, uh, just efforts toward maintaining quite a handful of border points with India as per our need, as per our import needs, because we are not exporting much to India. So whatever our national requirements are, according to those requirements, we need to just keep like the border checkpoints open and just a large number of border points remaining open means what? It means tremendous security challenges for Nepal as well as for India. It becomes a haven for traffickers of goods and services, even for human traffickers. So they pose all sorts of challenges to both Nepal and India. So our focus should be on operationalizing those border points that will suffice for Nepal, that will fulfill Nepal's import requirements instead of just letting n number of border points with India like remain open because I'm emphasizing our this aspect of our relations with India because we have intense exchanges. Like it's a day-to-day, people-to-people exchange. So we need to regulate it pretty much in the interest of Nepal as well as India. Let these points not heighten the security and other concerns of our two countries. Now about the border points with China. A question arises, what are we exporting to China? Not much, isn't it? So these border points should be like the government should just make sure that in the long run, these border points act as a lifeline for Nepal as well, a lifeline for Nepal's economy. What can we export to that huge market called China, to Tibet? Tibet itself is not like uh, doing great, I think, in terms of food security, in terms of timber and all those construction materials. How can we just cater to the needs of the Tibetans at least and just give our economy a huge boost? Because Nepal can just export a number of exotic products to Tibet, like what you call uh, herbs, some indigenous food products, uh, yaks, and all kinds of things. So the government should focus on promoting those local products that Nepal can export to Tibet and make some cash and give its economy a huge boost. It's a diplomatic effort, a well executed diplomatic effort on the part of both Nepal and China. This reopening of 14 border points, it is expected, I think, it will not be quite far-fetched to expect a boost in the arrival of Chinese tourists to Nepal, uh, increased exchanges between our two peoples, and a burgeoning trade scenario. The government should do every bit to just make sure that these 14 border points act as a lifeline, become a lifeline for Nepal's economy. I think this is not expecting too much from a government. At the end of this presentation, we have come. I request you to subscribe to this channel, comment on our presentation, and press that like button. Your support toward citizen journalism will be much appreciated. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.